Ayo, this is Dash, and we're talking lessons learned today. Ayo, this is Dash. Get ready. So, hopefully by now you guys have seen the fact that I have that new 5-foot grill. Still haven't figured out a name for it just yet. Just be patient with me. Be patient with me. I'm in my car. I'm waiting for my son's baseball team. I almost said basketball. Baseball team. Their game is about to start. So I want to knock this video out rather quickly. So I'm sitting in the car. The car is running. So if you hear wind noise or air noise, I apologize. I'm trying to turn it down, but it's like 80, 85 degrees outside, and I want to try to stay cool. So, those things being said, let's talk lessons learned. So, one of the first things I can tell you is try to plan, or this for this particular instance. So, I'm gonna kind of go throughout the day, and if you've seen the video, then you already know I had complications with the rented grill. So I rented that grill from a rental company. I don't even remember the name of the place, but not important. One of the things I can tell you is when I went in there on Saturday morning to pick up the rotisserie grill, I got there, I saw the grill, I said, hey, you know, I had the trailer on the back of Anna. I said, hey, can I just get the grill and load it up and you guys get my paperwork squared away? They're like, no. So what I ended up having to do, of course, it's Saturday at like 11 o'clock, yeah, it was about 11 o'clock. And there were 3 or 4 people ahead of me, and they were renting, you know, tables and chairs, so big round tables and chairs. So I had to wait in line, basically, I'm like, I can load it up myself. I don't need anybody to help. The guy's like, oh, you know, I need to show you how to work it. I'm like, plug it in, flip a switch. There's not much to it. I'll look at it, I can figure it out. I mean, I'm pretty mechanically inclined, right? There is the motor, there's a tension screw. You lift up and release the tension on the chain so that the drive chain would engage the gear on the rotisserie or disengage the gear on the rotisserie if you moved it up. So move it closer to the rotisserie, it would disengage, move it further away, it would engage, and then the rotisserie would spin. Okay, basic stuff, I got it, no problem. Like I said, it took me a while in the place. Now, I said I wanted to be at the event, which was 45 minutes away, I said I wanted to be there. I told my customer I would be there between 10:30 and 11 to get everything started. So, yeah, first problem. When I got to the rental place, and I actually was a little earlier. I think I left my house about 10:15, so I got to the rental place about 10:30, and I got to the event, it was 11:15. Like I said, I wanted to be there between 10:30 and 11, so I was already late. When I got there, I was told that the food that I was going to be cooking was in the kitchen off to the side. I'm like, okay, good. So I'm like, all right, well, let me see what it is I need to cook. And she said, oh, there's these big bowls of chicken. I mean, I don't even know how much chicken was in each bowl, but there probably were 15 to 20 pounds of chicken in each bowl. It was in a marinade. So I'm like, okay, cool. She's like, there's 2 bowls of chicken. Oh, wait, there's 3 bowls of chicken. Okay. She said, also, in these bags, there's the legs of lamb. Oh, all right. So when I get there, the person who is the coordinator, she said she was the one who was coordinating all of the events. She was the MOD, right? Manager on duty. She says, oh, anything you need my head chef to help you with, she'll help you with it. You know, just let her know. Okay, cool. Hey, so I get there and I said, all right, I have the rotisserie. I said, I'll get it broken down. I'll bring you in the spit, the actual spinny bar part. Can you load the lamb up? She said, oh yeah, sure, no problem. Once the manager on duty leaves, and I get the grills unloaded and I get the spit off and I take it inside, her story changes. So she tells me, no, I don't have time for that. Lady, I have to go outside and get the grill started. I mean, we just talked about this and you told me you were going to be able to help me out with this in order to save me some time. And she's like, well, unfortunately, we don't have enough time. We have other things that we have to get taken care of. Okay. So I'm like, all right. So then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll have to. I'm like, where am I going to put the lamb on the rotisserie anyway? So I'm looking in the kitchen. Every surface in the kitchen is covered. They have food everywhere, stuff that needs to be prepped, hors d'oeuvres, salads that are being made, cold salads, you know, other sides, other things like that. And they're all over everywhere. So I find a table kind of in the little vestibule, right? She says, oh, I'll cover the table with plastic bags and you can do it right there. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh. So she shows me where the bags are. In the bags, I open up the bag. The lamb is still in the package. Yes, it's still in the package. It's unseasoned. So, note to self, make better communication with the person who's providing food. Usually I don't let people provide food, but this was a special occasion. The young lady who the celebration for, it was a celebration. She had a double lung and heart transplant at the same time 25 years ago. So this was a big deal for her. So I was not trying to, you know, provide them or give them any more stress than so I agreed to a lot more than I probably should have or normally would have. Anyway, I look at the lamb, it's not seasoned. So I'm like, oh dear Lord, what do I do now? So I'm like, well, do I run out and try to go get some seasoning from somewhere? The good thing is, the place where this event was, I worked not too far away, so I know there's a supermarket not too far away. So I'm like, okay, nah, I can't really do that. The head chef, she's like, nah, just put it on the grill like that. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to wrap it with? Usually, you know, you would use like some sort of butcher's twine or something like that to hold it together. She's like, no, leave it in the netting. It'll be fine. I'm like, okay. She's like, you know, because you can roast it just like that in a pan. Why can't you, you know, put it on the grill and cook it like that? Or on a rotisserie? I'm like, okay. I'm like, I have no other option. So I unwrap everything, get it all on the spit. Now, you know, if you notice legs of lamb, boneless legs of lamb, there's a meat side and there's a fat side. So I alternated the meat and the fat side while I was, you know, putting the lamb on the spit. I had 8 legs of lamb, and that was the first bone of contention. So you guys saw in the video when I had it all together and I carried it out and put it onto the rotisserie. Then in the first video, I was talking about the fact that I had a little bit of problem with the drive. The drive gear, it slipped off. So I guess once I put the lamb on there and had it going, after a while, just like on a bicycle, the chain kind of, I guess it was at a slight angle and then the chain just rolled off. Okay, great. You know, I fixed it, not a problem. Just roll with the punches. Got the big grill set up, got the big grill fired up. I got the sausage on the grill, yada, yada. In the video, in the first video at the very end, you saw, hey, this is when my day got from bad to worse, right? That was when the drive gear or the set screw on the drive gear, it just loosened up. And I just didn't have the correct tool in order to set the drive, no pun intended. I didn't have a tool to set the set screw tight enough so that the drive gear would work again. You guys saw what happened, and unfortunately, so what ended up happening, and the reason why I got as much footage as I did, I set up the camera, and with this camera, I think I told you guys before when I first got this camera, it has a 30-ish minute recording limit, and by the time I got the lamb moved over, well, the lamb off of the grill, off of the charcoal, and then charcoal moved over to the big grill, and then the big grill got back up, and then I had to, you know, get chicken cooked. The camera was the least of my concerns, and that was why I didn't have any additional footage, like of me cutting the lamb off of the spit, of me getting anything else set up, none of those things, because once the camera, you know, shut off, I left it off until I kind of caught my breath, and that's when you see towards the end I put up that screen talking about I put my head down, I got to cooking. I was cooking for a good hour and a half, 2 hours. Once I saw the light at the end of the tunnel, I was like, okay, you know what? I have a moment. I can breathe for a moment. Let me pull the camera bag out again, just so it doesn't end on that bad note where it was hectic. Okay, so I showed you guys how I was able to, not save the day, but what ended up happening was, what I ended up having to do was I ended up having to cut the lamb off. Now, mind you, throughout the video, you saw me manually turning the lamb. Once I reduced the amount of charcoal that was in the rotisserie, I was able to manually turn the lamb just a little. It was just warm enough to not let the lamb cool, so it wasn't getting any colder, but it definitely was not going to cook as fast as I needed it to on that little bit of charcoal that I had. One of the problems I had, and I told you guys at the end of the second video, I singed my beard. I singed my beard because I had 3 pieces of lamb on the grill, and the same exact thing happened when the lamb sat still. Flames just erupted. So there was a time when I opened up the grill and I was engaged or engulfed in flames, and it charred my beard. That's why my beard is a little shorter than it was a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, like I said in the second video, I did not get any footage of that. Sorry. But lesson learned there. If you have a really fatty meat, I know for sure, or I know now, ask me how I know. I have to limit the amount that I'm putting on at the same time, and or move it around way more frequently. It was one of those things where I was trying to finish up cooking sausage. I had some chicken on so I could get that done, and then I had the lamb on, and the fat from the lamb was just dripping down into because what I ended up doing, I ended up cutting the leg of lamb like in half. I split it open and then put the halves, well, not the halves, but the legs of lamb onto the grill, and all of that fat basically just dripped down into the grill, and it created a hell of a fire. Ended up having to put some water down in it, so I always make sure you have some water with you. And I mean, it was interesting to say the least. Nonetheless, you guys saw in the end it turned out okay. For those of you who are concerned and wanted to know, the rotisserie, I called the company once everything kind of slowed down a little bit. I called the company and told them, I said, yo, the rotisserie was messed up. So I left a message with someone from the repair department called me back, and he's like, what's going on? He's like, well, where are you? Blah, blah, blah. I said, well, the set screw on the drive gear isn't working. He's like, well, what do you mean it's not working? I said, it backed out, it loosened up. I said, so the shaft that's spinning from the motor is not spinning the drive gear, which is not spinning the chain, which is on the rotisserie. He was like, oh, well, usually it's just like, I already figured out it's Allen. I don't have an Allen with me. I said, I'm on site at an event currently. I'm like, you hear the music in the background. I said, I'm on site. He's like, well, where are you? I said, I'm in PG County. I said, I'm probably an hour away from where you are right now in traffic. I said, I know you guys close soon. There's no way you can get back down here. Can you please note my account that I had a problem with this rotisserie and I would like a refund? He's like, well, no problem. Glad you called. Really sorry about that. Wish I could have done something different for you, blah, blah, blah. He was really apologetic, and I understood that it wasn't his fault, unless he was the one that didn't tighten the screw. But it worked for a good hour maybe, but it didn't work for the entire time, which I needed it to. So basically, the guy that helped me out get the lamb off of the charcoal, this guy, I think his name was Josh. Josh was a real MVP. He helped me out. He came in clutch big time. He definitely helped me out, because when I say it was I panicked, man, had I had to try to lift that up by myself, I would have, there would have been no way. I would have had to try to take the food all the way off, and then the lamb off of the rotisserie, and then I would have had been able to try to put where was I going to put it? I didn't have any place to put it. So one of the things I would like to do is, if at all possible, if I have an event like that again, I'm gonna have to hire one of my friends to come out with me and, be my backup. And, it'll take some stress off of me, and that'll allow me to multitask and accomplish more things at once as well. With those things being said, that is definitely not always the case. So as far as being able to have someone else there, but I mean, all in all, in the end, it worked out. All in all, this lessons learned was more of a, you know, again, you have to communicate, or the main lesson here was communicate with the people who you're doing these events with, especially if you're going to allow them to provide some food. I would have liked to have been able to season that lamb a little bit better. And I apologize, I didn't say this. I showed a little bit when I talked about the basting liquid. So as the lamb was turning on the rotisserie, it was honey, and like there was butter, honey, some others, like I don't even know what was all in it. I was just told, hey, there's a pot over there with a paintbrush on it. We want you to put this on top of the lamb as it's cooking. Okay. I'm like, no seasoning? Because I ended up talking to the lady and she's like, no, just put the basting liquid on it. I got people who, after they had the lamb, they gave me rave reviews and told me the lamb was excellent, and you know, they enjoyed it. So that was all that mattered to me. But my gosh, you have to communicate with the people who you're doing these events with, all of those things, you have to communicate with them in order to make sure that you're on the same page. Because she told me she was going to be seasoning the chicken, she didn't tell me she wasn't going to be seasoning the lamb at all. So this, you know, as far as things to do differently, time management. Again, if I knew then what I know now, I would have tried to get to the rental place probably in half an hour, 45 minutes earlier than I got there. I was hoping it was gonna be just a quick in and out type thing, 5-10 minutes. It wasn't. It ended up being 15-20 minutes, which slowed me down, which it just wasn't a good look. When I got to the on site, the ladies who were at the site who were preserving this mansion that we were at, they didn't want me too close to the building. They kept making me move the grill. Oh no, we really would like to make sure that you know, there's no problems, and we would hate for the building to be, you know, caught on fire. And I'm like, man, you don't have to worry about that. I'm like, I got you. I got you. Don't worry about that. So, you know, I had to deal with that. You know, the people who were concerned about preserving, no, not my son. People who were preserving the building that we were at. Then the fire alarm went off. You guys saw when it went off one time. It went off a second time. The second time it went off, they said it could have been me. Some of the smoke was blowing in towards it, because the whole problem was people were in and out of the building, and as I was cooking right there, I was probably 20 feet away from the door. Enough smoke kind of got into the building long enough to be able to set the alarm off, but the alarm didn't stay on very long because they closed the door, turned, and actually what ended up happening was the young lady who was the head chef lady, she said she turned the fan around in the kitchen because it was getting too warm in there. So she turned the fan around and drew some of the air in, which drawing the air in with the smoke from the grill, duh. So then she turned the fan back around. It was like a common thing, just like duh. So she turned the fan around and the air was blowing back out of the door again to take some of the heat out of the kitchen, and the problem went away. The alarm went off. So I know this one was very rambly because I didn't have anything prepared. I just wanted to take this moment, this opportunity to kind of talk to you guys, and well, this was more for me than it is for you sometimes. But hopefully you saw this video and you saw that no matter what, there's always, you just gotta put your head down and get to work. Don't let something frustrate you. Don't get flustered. You know, if you have a job to do, get it done. If it takes you longer, unfortunately, you can let the customer know. So this time it took me longer, and basically where I told him it would probably take me 2.5, maybe 3 hours, or I was hoping it was going to take 2.5, maybe 3 hours. It took me 4.5 hours. So, but the difference is, or the difference was, the rental of the rotisserie and all of the fees associated with it were about 115 bucks. So, well, it was 115 and I would have gotten 25 of that back. So he'd have paid me $100. That money that he didn't pay for that went to some extra time for me cooking. So it was a wash pretty much in the end. And you know, sometimes that's what has to happen. So I say all of that to say, if you made it to the end of this video, you know, big high five and a pound. I know these lessons learned videos can be rather rambly, and ranty or rantish, and a lot of times I don't have any sort of set structure or anything, and I'm just talking off the cuff to kind of get my emotions and to get my, you know, how I feel about what the event what happened at the event and things like that out, so I can talk to you, so I can put this out there, so that if I need to, I can look back at it myself. And if it helps one of you guys, then that's great. But like I always say, I do these videos more for me than I do for you guys. All right, I'm done. The game is about to start. Thank you guys so very much, as always, for watching. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. Don't forget to turn on that notification bell. You know, I haven't gotten any mail in a while. The P.O. box is always down below. And last but not least, if you are not a member of the Patreon team, join the Patreon team. You get early access to the videos. Thank you guys again. I'll see you next time.